Okay. And once we have specified the deployment YAML, let me deploy this onto the server. If I go to my, okay. So the application that I'll be using for Kubernetes is MicroK8s. And if I go to the status, it is running. And if you take a look at the IP address, this is the IP address that I'll be using to access the server. And there are certain plugins that needs to be enabled. So one is the DNS, the HA cluster for high availability of the current node. Then I guess this is by default enabled, and you also need to enable the ingress for Nginx, ingress for controller for external access, right? In this case, it is using Nginx, and that is the service that we access from a local machine. Okay, so let me check if any of the service is running that I need to stop. Okay, let me go to the cd apps Kubernetes LL cd app. Oh, okay. I need to stop the delete. This is deleted. Okay, let me do get all. So this is the one part that was incorrectly configured and it's still not getting terminated. So, and it is causing an issue. That is because it was part of a cluster that I got rid of and then it just stayed over here. Anyways, but it won't bother our work. There is also an ingress that needs to be deleted. Control Alt delete. Wait. Control R ingress. Delete ingress. Okay. Let me delete this. Okay. Now I need to make a folder in this case. Go to out, go to play. This will be post service, post applications. Okay. So KDIR as post app. Okay. And if you go inside, I'll be making a file called scheduler service.yaml. And within this YAML file, I'll be putting the deployment code. Okay, so you have the service, the deployment. Within this deployment, you have the pod with all the resources and ports exposed. And you have the config map. So we got this and everything looks handy. So this will be post application. Is it post or posts? Posts, okay. The rest is none, false, false, and anything else is missing. Otherwise, the server won't start up and it'll give errors, and we don't want that. Let me save this and let me apply it. Go and apply the scheduler service.yaml. So in this series, I won't be giving any much more information on Kubernetes and Docker because I want to focus on the service and the application itself. If you need more information, you can go through other tutorials that are out there on YouTube. Okay, so the service and deployment and the config maps are created. Let me take good all. Okay, the container creating, it's saying that the container is getting created. Okay. So what this will do is it will download the image of the scheduler service from Docker and deploy it in the Kubernetes server. Once that is done, it will specify as the service as running. It might take some time to download all the image. Okay, so it says running. So what we're gonna do is we'll check the log of the pod. And this will be okay. So as we can see, I'm following the logs of the pod, and it seems that it's trying to connect to the Hazelcast and it successfully got connected. And I hope it will start the server as well. Yep, but still. Has it started? Okay, got the actuator. Okay, it says the started scheduler init in 48 seconds. Okay, so it seems that it's running. So let me do an exec on one of the pods and see if we are able to at least get any information for the. We'll try to curl the application. So we got exec. Let me do this. Let me run it on this pod. Let me push this side. And if I take a look at the pod, okay, we are inside the pod. Let me do a curl. Seems that this is running as it is giving an output. All right, so it is giving an output that we were expecting. Now, if I go exit out of the pod, are we able to do that over here? Let me try to run this. See, we won't be able to do that because our application is running inside the container and the container has its own IP address. So in order to access that, but first we'll check what is the, okay. Now, in order to access the service, we need an ingress. So if I just take an example of my previous application, I'll create an Nginx YAML file. Within this, go to scheduler service and create a new file. Call it Nginx YAML. The Nginx YAML file should not be a part of this because this will be a common file that will be accessed, that will contain information for all the services that will be creating the user service, the post service. and the common service, as well as the scheduler service and the API gateway service. So, but for time being, then we can use this. We got the post. We name that as a Nginx post service. It will be an Nginx ingress class name will be an Nginx. The path type will be a prefix, and here we need to specify the name of the service that we'll be using it for. So in this case, it is this scheduler service. Just put it over here, and the port number that we are using is 10,020. Again, this is path. There's no path. Is there any path that we have specified as a part of a context? Let me put this scheduler service and go to the Nginx YAML, and let me put it over here. Path type prefix. Again, this will be, excuse me, this will be over here, and don't want that, and that is the actuator. Now let me put this, and will be part of this will be nano nginx post app .yaml. What have we specified it in the post service? Nginx post app. Let's call it Nginx post app. Okay. And let me copy this and put it in here. Save it and Control R, apply. This will be Nginx post app. Okay, Nginx app created. Let me go to the ingress. So it seems that it has picked up the Nginx post app, but over here the address needs to be available. So the address will be 127.0.0.1. Once that is available, we will be able to access the service outside. Okay. Okay, so the address is available. Now let me call it. This won't be available, but what we can do is to this 192.168.29.206. So as you can see, what it'll do is we tried calling the localhost 10,021 actuator, but it wasn't available. But the Nginx is running on this IP. So when we call this IP slash actuator, it will go into the ingress and it will go in this part of it. And if there is a prefix called actuator that is running on 10,021 from this service, then it will give you the output. And if we try to, so we tried accessing it from the server itself. Let me try to access this from my local machine. So this will be the IP address. And as you can see, I'm from the server actuator, I'm able to access the URLs. I'm getting the response for the URL. So if I specify it as health, it'll still give me the output. So this is how we deploy a service on Kubernetes using Docker. Yeah, that's it. Similarly, one thing I forgot to mention is that the way we deployed the schedule service is the similar way I'll be deploying the other services as well in the future videos. So I won't be explaining in depth about the Kubernetes YAML file, as I've already explained all of that. Yep, that's it. Thanks.